Estoy aquí con un profesor de la Universidad Libre de Ámsterdam, el doctor An-Ting Yi, y él generosamente nos ha permitido entrevistarle acerca del trabajo que su institución realiza especialmente en el campo del Nuevo Testamento. Thank you very much for being with us, and we are going to ask you a few questions
Thank you for
about
having me.
your work and also the work of your institution. Our audience is interested in the New Testament theology. Talk to us first a little bit about the Amsterdam Center for New Testament Studies. Le estoy preguntando que me hable un poco acerca del Centro para el Estudio del Nuevo Testamento que tienen en la Universidad Libre de Ámsterdam.
Thank you, Carlos. Our research center is within a public university, Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam, or we can translate that as Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. And it's within the School of Religion and Theology. So within our center, we have two research groups. One is more traditionally defined within New Testament study, so New Testament and early Christianity. In that research group, we discuss about the text of the New Testament, about historical Jesus, Paul, early Christianity movement, and etc., etc. We have another research institute within this center, that is the Center for Contextual Biblical Interpretation. In this center, we focus more on the hermeneutical context and also our own contextuality within scholarship, within churches, within all the interpreters. So these two research teams team together to formulate our research group. And I think one thing that's really inspiring is we have a bi-weekly seminar. So it's a hybrid seminar, both in person and online. Every other Friday afternoon, we gather together to discuss a topic and have a presenter and about all variety of topics. So within this center, it's, as I said, within a regular university. So we have from BA, MA to PhD, all the different programs that you can study focusing on the New Testament and related subjects.
You are also a teacher. You need to teach courses. Tell us a little bit about the courses that you usually teach. Which one is your favorite course? And when you teach, what do you want your students to learn about the New Testament?
Okay, thank you. I teach several courses. One of the courses I teach on a regular basis is New Testament Greek. So I teach our BA student, bachelor students, their very first course on New Testament Greek. On the one hand, you could see that for some it's a challenge to learn a new language, especially an ancient language. Yeah, not in their teenage or young age, but already in their 20s or even older. On the other hand, I really take this as an opportunity to invite them into the world of the New Testament. What I usually do for my class is I try to connect not only for the grammar, for all the stuff, vocabulary they have to do, and also exams, but also I try to include some interesting stuff every session for them. For instance, I'll take examples from manuscripts, from archaeological findings, or from inscriptions to showcase that this language is not only that you can see that from your Greek New Testament edition, but you could also see that from antiquity, even from nowadays, you visit a church or archaeological remainings, you could find many things. And I try to connect this with their study. So as far as I can see, my students often feel that 5-10 minutes, the highlight of the day, the rest about grammar, vocabulary, that's what they have to do. But for that small part, I really enjoy doing that and prepare that to connect that with the class.
I was looking at your publications, and there is one in particular that I think our audience would be very interested to learn about. And this has to do with Codex Vaticanus.
Yes.
Explain to us what that codex is,
Uh-huh.
very basic, and then what are some of the findings in your research?
Oh, wow. Okay. Codex Vaticanus, it's a 4th century uncial manuscript. So it's a Greek Bible, handwritten Greek Bible. So it's one of the oldest and complete, almost complete Greek Bible nowadays. Why this codex is important is that for our current day Bible, vernacular Bible, whether that's English or Spanish or Chinese, that most of the current day translation were based on a critical text that originates from the 18th, 19th century, of course, currently revised until nowadays. But the basis of our base texts is Codex Vaticanus. So its text was used by scholars in the 19th century to prepare their text, the critical edition of the Greek New Testament, and then being translated into vernacular languages. My research looked into this codex, but not only the codex itself, but it's about the many stories surrounding the codex from the 16th century onto the 19th century. So you could say that it's about the reception of codex to see how scholars by then examine and study and misunderstood the value of the codex. So to connect with what I think is important about our context, now we are here in Durham for an academic conference. By then, every scholar had their own context. So I think my research showed that actually scholars are not doing their work in the bubble or whatever, but actually they have their own context, their own historical and cultural backgrounds that influence their view of a codex and also influence their view of the Bible.
También hablamos al inicio de que está involucrado con la iglesia, es un pastor, ha sido pastor de jóvenes, pero también es un académico. Así que quiero preguntarle cuál es el valor de la academia y el estudio académico para la vida de la iglesia.
I think they are definitely related, pastoral ministry and the academic work. So for me as a pastor, both as an academic, first thing I would say that I seldom teach my congregation about the New Testament Greek from the pulpit. It's not what I think a proper way to do so. But this does not mean that I don't check the Greek language when I prepare my sermon. The first thing I think what academic can contribute to our pastoral work and even pastoral ministry is that when we really look into the text and also its context, be it historical, critical, or cultural context, we could have a more vivid picture, say, of Jesus' time. Before the past weekend, I preached from Matthew 12 on Jesus and his dispute with the Pharisees. I did not bring in all the knowledge about Josephus and all others regarding Pharisees, but I did tell my brothers and sisters that we should have a more nuanced picture of who Pharisees were and also why they were so into the Torah and also so into all the rules and rituals, etc. So with this, I think it's good to bring the new findings and knowledge from academia and try to translate that into our day-to-day language to our congregation and link that with their everyday life. That's the one side of from academic to the pastoral ministry. On the other hand, I also think that what I have experienced and see in the church could also contribute to my teaching and also to my work at the university, to see, for one, that many of my students would one day become pastors. So that we often have some conversations during the class about this, but also about the sensitivity of the highs and lows from our day-to-day life to the academic. I think it's also very relevant.
No, that was a very important point. It's both ways, not
Yes.
only one way, but it's both ways.
Yes, very important.
La siguiente pregunta va a ser un poco más personal y quisiera preguntarle acerca de cómo su trasfondo y su vida ha informado sus investigaciones y su enseñanza.
Originally, I'm from Taiwan, so it's in Asia, a small island, a small country. About 10 years ago, I decided to, after my seminary trainings and becoming a pastor in Taipei, I decided to go abroad for advanced study. I chose Amsterdam, the university I'm working with, to be the place where I study my master and PhD. I could say that this journey formulate my thoughts and also you could say that my way of interaction quite a lot. So to just say a few things about that, compared to my colleagues who are from the Dutch context or from European contexts, I have more sensibility regarding the difficulties about international students, for instance, and also the cultural differences between Asian or Latin America or African culture and the Dutch culture. And I could also say that I have some difficulties myself when I was new to the Netherlands regarding just day-to-day things like trying to find where to buy things, where to find place to stay and get registered at the city hall, etc. So these experiences, I would say that it also enriched me, that I can try to, try to be accompanied with those who are facing similar challenges. Nowadays, one of my teaching responsibility is within the Center for Theology of Migration. This is a special program we designed at the university for those who are migrants themselves, migrant pastors who work in the Netherlands. So within this program, we have many students or fellows. They are experienced pastors. They are here in Europe for many years, but still, because of their background, because of their cultural differences, they are still facing some of the challenges or barriers that many local could not imagine. So my own context and experience helped me. I cannot say that it's 100%, but at least I could try to figure this out together with my fellow students, fellow learners, as we call that in the center, and also to see how could we together to bring the gospel to different contexts, not only to the context of the Netherlands, but also to the context in migrant communities, but maybe also backwards to their home countries.
La siguiente pregunta tiene que ver con algunos consejos que él nos pueda dar para quienes estamos pensando en estudiar en Europa o en un contexto más europeo.
Okay. Wow, it's a big one. I cannot say for others, but I could say that if there are some students who want to pursue further study in the Netherlands or in Amsterdam, I would say be open-minded.
Okay.
That's really important, and also be independent. This is also something I've learned during my doctoral study in Amsterdam, that here in our university, we are trying to train you as an independent scholar. You could disagree with your supervisor. This is something quite unusual with my background, the Asia context, always respectful for your professors. But here, you could think differently, but make sure that you have good arguments and reasons to do so. I would say that, yes, just try to push the boundary and push yourself a bit further, and don't be too shy to reach out, to ask questions. And I believe that if the Lord opened this door for you, He will provide all you need for that.
Muy buenos consejos. El consejo de tener una mente abierta, también de tener la capacidad de ser independiente, tener buenos argumentos para poder estar en desacuerdo con el asesor doctoral y confiar en el Señor de que Él va a proveer si Él abre estas puertas. Ha sido un gusto estar con mi colega de la Universidad Libre de Ámsterdam, y si tienen alguna pregunta pueden dejarla en la parte de abajo y yo con gusto voy a responderles. Thank you very much for your time and for your advice and for sharing with us today.
Thank you.